Originally, I wanted to make a Literature Devil video. This led me to watching Anthony Gramuglia's third video on the guy. Now, I didn't like Ant's first two videos, which is why I was planning on making a video myself, but the third one kind of made this video irrelevant. So, I decided to switch up focus, since when watching that third video, I noticed that whenever Neil Gaiman was mentioned, Ant kind of had this nervous feeling about mentioning him. It was more just kind of discussed that anyone would acknowledge Neil Gaiman in 2025 after the recent allegations, and that kind of made me look back throughout recent events, and I just kind of want to talk about it. So this kind of starts with J.K. Rowling. She made Harry Potter, in case you didn't know. And Harry Potter, I think, is a really good book. Unfortunately, Rowling kind of made liking Harry Potter a bit difficult. Relatively recently, she revealed that she was transphobic. And ever since, she's been digging herself deeper, but that's not particularly relevant. What is relevant is that her transphobia made people reevaluate Harry Potter. Questions like, was Harry Potter ever good? Is it okay to still support Rowling? These are very good questions, very much worthwhile. However, at the time when these questions were being asked, it was also being handled very simplistically. The question would be asked rhetorically. The answer was almost always going to be, yes, Harry Potter is no longer good. Harry Potter is bad. Or, no, you are 100% a bad person when you engage with Harry Potter. You had people who had a bit more nuance, Harry Potter is good, but that doesn't change that Rowling is bad. There are some people who will say, you're not necessarily a bad person for liking Harry Potter and engaging with it still, but, if you continue to support it, it kind of says you show more support for Rowling than trans people. But those were kind of drowned out by just the loud, vehement declaration that Harry Potter was bad and terrible and no one should like it. And during the early days of this, there was a guy named Neil Gaiman. Now, he's wrote quite a few good pieces of media. He's written quite a bit of good stories. And yeah, again, I agree, they're good stories. And part of why I know it's so good is because everyone kept praising him to the highest heavens. You see, Neil Gaiman was trans-supportive, he was an ally. And so a lot of the left-leaning folks just kept using him as a comparison to Rowling. Unlike Rowling, who just took out the bad guy and then kept everything back, kept the government unchanged and claiming it is good with just bad apples within it, whereas Neil Gaiman actually would challenge the establishment. Rowling would sometimes write, queer characters, but they're revealed after the fact. They're not actually gay or queer or even trans in the story, or it's something that gets kicked out of them eventually. Whereas Neil Gaiman, he actually put the effort to write queer characters, and while they weren't always well written in the beginning, he was planning on doing better with his later works. And some people even claim that Rowling stole from Gaiman from his stories. And just this kept happening. Everywhere you looked, especially when Rowling was mentioned, you'd hear how great Neil Gaiman was. I mean, even conservatives who don't care about trans people or are actively against them couldn't help but acknowledge that Neil Gaiman was a good writer. And then Neil Gaiman was accused of, and just, good lord, it was a disaster. I'll leave a video in the description if you want to hear more, but just, good lord. And a lot of people kind of got really quiet when discussing Neil Gaiman. They didn't really know what to think. Some people immediately went back to praising Neil Gaiman unambiguously, but a lot of the people who were praising him, especially because he was not Rowling, a lot of them kind of were in this awkward situation. You see, with Rowling, many of them hadn't said much about Harry Potter in the past, or at the very least, it wasn't the main thing they discussed. And so when Rowling was revealed to be transphobic, they could kind of go, well, she was never good. She was never a good writer. But with Neil Gaiman, so many of them spent so much time on him, praising him, that they couldn't just go back and say he was never a good writer. So I noticed that now suddenly the discussion has changed to, is it okay to like problematic people, or is it okay to like art from problematic people? And it just is kind of interesting to me. Now, despite this, people will still say that Harry Potter was never good, which, I disagree with, but now a lot of people are actually being a bit more mature on the matter. And they admit that maybe they just don't like Harry Potter, but that's not really the point. That doesn't really determine Rowling's character. Or they like Harry Potter, but that doesn't change that Rowling's doing a great harm. And it's just kind of interesting to see how this giant thing this whole conversation shifted. And sure, you still get people who will just blatantly say, oh, this person was never good at art. But I don't know, it's just kind of something interesting. And yeah, sorry for the rambles, but yeah. Well, that's it for what I have today. This channel, if you're wondering, is not really focused on anything. It's just random things that pop to mind. So, yeah. I'll see you all maybe later. Bye-bye.